In 5 minutes, please describe COPE and its policies.
I think it's important to give the background of the Congress of the People. The Congress of the People came into existence as a result of our own view in terms of the flouting of the Constitution by the ruling party. And we as the Congress of the People, we came out clearly that our Constitution was under threat, and we decided to form the Congress of the People in defending the Constitution and our democracy, which has been hard-won. And as one of our pillars and values, we are very strongly against corrupt practices, and we feel that every person should actually be equal before the law, as the Constitution says. There should be no favors for people because they are occupying high political office in the land. They should be accountable. People should be accountable. All public reps should be accountable, and they should be reliable, and they should be incorruptible. As the Congress of the People, when it comes to policy issues on education, we've got a sound education policy. We believe that in education we need to promote mother tongue education, and then as we promote mother tongue education, we believe that we should actually be having schools which are well managed, and learners which are well motivated, and parents, of course, which must take the responsibility for the education of their children. Education has got to be accessible to people who have been previously disadvantaged, because it should not be commercialized. As much as we agree with the issue of private schooling and homeschooling, and when it comes to homeschooling, we as the Congress of the People, we want to regulate it, and we want to finance homeschooling so that people who want to have their own to educate their learners in a home environment, or to send learners to a home school, they are free to do so. Remember, South Africa is a very vast country. Some are rural, some do not have access to schooling, but they can be able to do this with their kids. And as a matter of fact, when it comes to economic development, as the Congress of the People, we believe that we need to have a conducive climate to economic development. We need to harmonize the relationship between labor and capital, because labor need to operate in an environment which is actually more friendly towards it, and the issue of the salaries must be negotiated equally. And when it comes to the health policies, we are actually not opposed to the national health insurance scheme by the government, but what we say, it has got to be put into context in terms of it being accessible, and could be a very expensive project to embark upon, but it has got to look at the basic health care, to broaden the basic health care, and to access medication. For instance, you have to cut the middleman when it comes to the procurement of medications, so that they can be ordered directly from the pharmaceutical companies. And it's also very important to note that when it comes to the issue of medication, we need to have the health, the home-based carers, for people who will be able to visit people at homes who cannot be able to access medication from the hospitals. And also we need to broaden the what you call the primary health care, and we need to also encourage people to live a healthy lifestyle. And the issue of access the medical facilities, where you can be able to have more stock in the hospitals and in the clinics, and to train professionals, nurses who can be very much professional, to render services to especially the rural people who almost get the short end of the stick when it comes to service delivery. And we also promise South Africans the issue of water and sanitation. On water and sanitation, we believe that they should be accessible without the poor being denied this resource, and they can actually be given free to them whenever it can be subsidized. Thank you very much.
What is COPE's plan to grow and nurture South Africa's economy?
Our plan to grow and nurture South Africa's economy is it's based on education again. There's something that the Afrikaners have done. When we went from the South African War in 1910, and when after 1945, when there was the war, the Second World War, to deal with the issue of the white poor Afrikaner, they went on a massive project to educate the Afrikaner community, to the exclusion, unfortunately, of the broader South African black races. And there was this education to educate people, the human capital, to develop the human capital. It's very crucial for us as the Congress of the People to look at how should we develop the human capital through the education system, because at the end of the day, the economy can only flourish when it is actually managed well by people who have got the necessary skills which the economy will need. For instance, if you look at India, for instance, India, in terms of the engineers, they are actually training more engineers. In South Africa, out of 1,000, we might be training 50 engineers, which is way behind. And the economy can never grow in that manner. We also need to look at the issue as COPE of the small businesses, and to try and encourage South Africans to be employees rather than to be employers rather than to be employees, by sort of stimulating small business, your small and medium enterprises.
What do you think the greatest problem facing South Africans today?
The greatest problem facing South Africans today is we are the most unequal society, and we cannot continuously blame the apartheid for what is happening. I think in 20 years this thing should have been turned around, and I think what is at the heart of it is the fact that there's the political principles are unwilling to deal with the issue of corruption. Corruption is actually eating the body politics of our country, and this pussyfooting and knee-jerk reaction by the political principles to deal with corruption, it will actually bring our country down. And again, I think there is a retrogression in terms of, if you look at the professionalization within the last 15 years, the professionalization of the police. Within the last 5 years, we have seen the police being militarized. And to me, it is a regression of the gains that have been achieved since 1994. And I think we need, as South Africans, to deal with it head on.
Please describe the power struggle within the COPE party and what events.
I'm happy that you asked this, because to many people they think that it was a power struggle. It was never a power struggle, to be honest with you. This has been for the soul of the Congress of the People. Remember when people voted in 2009 for the Congress of the People, when we were formed, we were only 3 months, and about 1.3 million South Africans voted for COPE. And I can assure you, those people who voted for COPE, it was a vote against the ANC. And what we have seen when we formed COPE, there are people who came for COPE for personal interest. There are people who came for COPE because they have been agent provocateurs, or what we call the fifth columnists. And there are people who are genuinely for COPE. Recently, you might have seen that there are some caucus members within Parliament who have moved over to the ANC. that leaves actually a sweet taste in our mouth, because they have gone to where they have been actually sent to come and destabilize COPE. And I must say, they failed completely in trying to destabilize COPE, and COPE is here to stay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.